Hey there, thank you. I'm Sam Carrico, and this is the Film Fan Club Show, where being a film fan, I guess, means watching every new Marvel movie knowing your response will inevitably be meh. You guys know whenever you screenshot pictures so many times that it just becomes really pixelated by the end? All the detail is gone, and you're just left with this brownish blob that's awful to look at. That's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantu-MEH-nia. This is a problem that's been throughout the MCU's Phase 4. Eternals, Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder, but there's never been a clearer example of it than this movie. They took the worst part of their worst product, He Who Remains from Loki, and decided to focus their entire fifth phase around him. I don't know why people are so encapsulated by Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. In Loki, he was a dancing clown, and here, he's the most generic mustache-twirling villain. Gone are the days of Zemo from Civil War, or even Thanos from the Infinity Saga, villains who are obviously bad guys, but at least had memorable motives. In the comics, Kang is a relative of Reed Richards, which would theoretically give us a personal tie and flesh out the character a little, but Marvel movies have done none of that work for this version of the character. It's not Major's fault, I'm glad he's collecting a paycheck, but they give him nothing to work with here. This movie seemingly doesn't know how to treat either of its male leads because the film's attitude towards Scott Lang is equally baffling. After the events of Avengers Endgame, Scott is living a happy life at the beginning of this movie. He at one point says, "It's a great world. I'm glad we saved it." Wholesome shit. I'm glad he got his happily ever after. But I guess I'm the only one because his own daughter and his supposed girlfriend give him nothing but shit for it. Which brings us to Evangeline Lilly. Her character Wasp was an original member of the Avengers in the comics. Her getting a suit in the first movie and then being added to the title in the last movie felt like a feminist celebration. But she's completely sidelined here. She shares so little screen time with Paul Rudd that I almost forgot their characters are dating by the end of the film. It doesn't help that they have some of the worst chemistry together that I've seen since Henry Cavill and Amy Adams in BVS. Aside from Greg Turkington, the supporting cast isn't much better. Michael Douglas is literally phoning it in to the point where it felt like they had to give an in-universe explanation for him to wear an earpiece. We all know that's really for feeding him his lines, right? Michelle Pfeiffer is there, and it's nice to see her in anything these days, but all her performance here really did for me was make me want to watch Batman Returns again. Corey Stoll is back from the first movie, this time playing a completely bastardized version of MODOK. Similar to the Kang situation, it's cool that you're bringing in something resembling a character from the comics, but if you take away everything that made him that character, why should we give a shit? My last point is the CGI. We've all probably seen memes comparing this to Spy Kids 3D Game Over, but I had no idea how bad it could get. There were times where I don't think there was a single piece of set dressing other than actors and green screen. Say what you want about the Batman, I know it used the volume system like Mandalorian, but there it was used to enhance the sets they already had, not be the whole set. If there was ever a Marvel movie to wait to watch until it's streaming, it would be this one. But even then, you don't have to watch it. And join me now to discuss spoilers for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and share his thoughts on the film. He is a prolific entertainer. We got actor, musician, wrestler. Chris Gazaway is here. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. Yes, I'm all of those things and more, but successful at none of them.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm just kidding.
You also saw Ant-Man.
I did see Ant-Man.
So before we go into spoilers, if you want to do just an overview, what did you like about this movie?
Okay, without spoilers, I will just say it was fun. It was a fun movie, and it felt like there were some stakes there. And
supposedly the biggest stakes that we've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still a little, with the multiverse, I'm still kind of confused by all of it, really. But no, there are some serious stakes there. But it was fun. It had some introductions of some new characters, some like ones from the comics that we all know, and then like the way they're introduced is, I don't want to say too much yet because that'll be a spoiler, but MODOK, he's there.
So let's get into spoilers, though. I have the plot right here, so if you want to, we could go kind of beat by beat. So there might be a little bit of reading, but I figured that'd be the best way to kind of, because I like to kind of go through and because there's specific plot points that stick out to me, and I already got a big one. So after the Battle of Earth, Scott Lang has become a successful memoirist and living happily with his girlfriend Hope Van Dyne. The teenage daughter Cassie has become an activist, and she's in jail a lot. So I want
As they are.
as they yeah. And so what do you think though of what something for me that was weird was the treatment of Scott Lang and his career post Endgame. You know, he saved the world and they kind of treat him like an asshole a little bit, and they hold Cassie as this like, oh, this is what you should be doing, Scott, you know, being involved.
Now, when you say they treat him like an asshole, who do you mean?
Cassie and
Fans?
Cassie and Hope both kind of give Scott shit for being trying to retire from being a superhero semi. It feels a little weird.
Well, do you not think he's a little pretentious? Like
that's what the film was. Yeah, yeah.
I saved the world
with his book a little bit. Yeah.
And maybe they got a point. Like you saved the world, and now what are you doing? All you're doing is just walking around, shaking hands, kissing babies, and signing stuff. He's like a glorified politician, only he's not a politician.
He's like a brand ambassador. He's like an influencer now.
Influencer. Guys.
I thought it was weird. Okay, so you clearly were more on board with like, yeah, he should be doing more.
Well, I mean, if he's going to be so braggadocious, and he is, I think, yeah, it wouldn't hurt to still like be doing something. But to be fair, we haven't seen any of the Avengers like really doing anything since Endgame. So I mean,
I want to also get your impression of the first introduction to Cassie, all grown up now.
Actually, she was like one of the greatest parts of the movie. I thought I don't know her name, actress.
I don't either, but yeah.
But she did a great job.
So you really like the one in Endgame, but this one was also a good actress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she like seemed very confident as an actress and as a character. So like I thought she was a great, like you could tell that's Scott Lang's daughter.
Yeah. It seemed a little bit, so moving into the actual kind of, we're getting into the meat of the film now. She's apparently a genius as well, because she built this machine. Everybody's a genius in the MCU, and she built this machine that can, I guess at first it was just supposed to map out the quantum realm, right? By sending out a message down there. They have never involved Michelle Pfeiffer's in the making of this machine before. So when she sees it for the first time, she's like freaking out, and they all get sucked in. And my thing is, it kind of feels like this. It just feels like a Saturday morning cartoon side quest a little bit, kind of going along with the theme of the MCU post, Endgame being kind of like filled with side quests. So I don't know. How did you feel about the whole being sucked down in the quantum realm, the building of the machine, not telling Michelle Pfeiffer or I guess Ant-Man himself about it until they see the machine for the first time? Did it feel a little silly?
I mean, there was questionable aspects to that, but I mean, like, what I got the impression, like her and Hank, I mean, like she was calling him Grandpa Hank. Right. They have a tight relationship, and they, who always blipped out of Cassie's life in that 5 years was because like I don't remember seeing her stepdad or her mom in Endgame. Like
I don't remember.
It only showed her, and then at the end it just showed Hope, her, and Scott, so we never really saw them. So she was doing a lot of research on her own, and so once Hank came back in the picture, like she just buckled down with him, and like they really started hashing things out. And maybe it's not hard to believe that he kept Janet in the dark on that, just because of like the PTSD that she has with the quantum realm.
Yeah, I guess there's that aspect. I didn't really think about that aspect of it. I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit cartoony, the all getting sucked in.
Yeah, the whole sucked in thing, and then how it kind of happened within the first 10 minutes of the film or so, it did feel a little, well, we're here now.
It's a brisk 2-hour film.
I did like the fact that they did just hurry up and dive into getting in there. So
they waste no time.
Yeah. It felt a little hokey, but it's a comic movie. And I mean, at times, some of those creatures down in the quantum realm, at times, it felt like Star Wars or something.
A lot of people were saying they felt like a little bit of a Star Wars influence. A lot of people were also saying they were seeing a little bit of a Spy Kids influence. Have you seen those memes? And I do think the CGI bothers me a little bit. I would have liked to see a little bit more. Like think of some
There were
like
some of them I liked, but yeah, some were. I liked the ones that looked more like microscopic germs because
that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But just the world I felt wasn't. It felt like very like Spy Kids. That's the common example. Like I was just thinking of something like Dune, or even a lot of the original Star Wars movies with real sets and real locations. It could have made it feel more lived in. I never, like, my mind never forgot that they're on a soundstage.
Well, have you seen their new technology that they have now, where it goes like a
Yeah,
360
I hate it.
around?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're starting to implement a little bit more like set pieces to it. Definitely more than they had been, because it had just been like green screen crap. And yeah, that is so uninspiring for the actors themselves.
We also got Bill Murray cameo in this movie. Did you like Bill Murray's
I
cameo?
actually did, and going into it, I didn't think I was going to at all. I thought, because like I don't know, in a way, and I know this is kind of blasphemous, but I'm kind of over Bill Murray. But
Yeah. It definitely felt like he's showing up, he's cashing a check, and he doesn't really probably give a shit more than that, which is like, hey, fine.
But I see, and that's what I was expecting in this film. But he actually like played a character, and it felt real for like him. I mean, yeah, I thought he did a good job.
As soon as he ate that drink, I was like, this guy's gonna be a bad guy,
Oh, but when Scott throws the biggin thing, and
that was great.
Yeah, I popped big for that. I was like, yes, let the little thing eat him back.
That was good. And then now, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we get to Kang. Well, we got the flashback. We could talk about Janet's backstory. We kind of get a little bit of the beginning, and then before we meet Kang properly, we get the flashback with him of Janet was stranded there. Kang was stranded there. He saved her.
And he said he got banished there. Yeah, he got
exiled there by we'll get more on the Council of Kangs in a second, but like, yeah, he was sent there, banished there. She finds out that he's evil, and then she abandons, she destroys his machine. And what did you think of the backstory, everything, before we meet him in this movie, all that stuff?
It did seem a little contrived, or a little. Maybe they didn't elaborate on it enough. It seemed kind of like a vague. Oh, we knew each other, or we used to know each other. It's like, how long though?
Big retcon, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a perfect film, but just to me, I think it was refreshing, and it finally felt like one of the old pre-Endgame kind of MCU films for me. It finally felt fun again, and it finally felt like, ooh, there's this new badass, and like there's like something else is going on. This isn't the end.
Yeah. What did you think? So my thing though with Kang is, it seems like two things. I say this a little bit in my monologue, but it seems like Endgame and Infinity War at Thanos, and you could maybe not agree with him, but you could see where he's coming from. Zemo, you could see, Zemo from Civil War, you could see where he's coming from. I don't obviously get where Kang's coming from at all, but
we're not from the 31st century.
Yeah.
So,
well, I just don't know what is his goal other than I'm evil and I want to destroy timelines.
Yeah, that is true, because
I have no idea.
Yeah, they kind of touched on that in the movie, and when she was like, then what? Or
right.
Like, I win. I'm like, okay, so that's your whole mastermind, your whole soul purpose is to win.
Yeah.
At least Thanos thought he was like
he was saving humanity or whatever,
correcting things, and he was the only one that had the will to do it.
Right.
Yeah, that does kind of bug me, but I think we will go on to learn that it's a little deeper than that. Because they have what's her name, Ren Catcher or whatever, from Loki. Okay. The woman.
Yeah, I know who. I think I know.
I believe, like, because in the comics, Renslayer. Okay. She has a relationship with Nathaniel Richards or whatever in the comics, so. Maybe one of these Kangs or something, it has, love is like
Okay.
his motivating
Maybe one of them.
thing.
Do you think one of the Kangs that we see at the end, this is jumping ahead, do you think one of the Kangs that we will meet, potentially even in Secret Wars or the Kang Dynasty, do you think they will be Nathaniel Richards, or do you think they're all... Because my problem is Nathaniel Richards is cool because it gives us a personal tie. Reed Richards would be more invested. But having this version of Kang, who is just generic bad guy, it's not as interesting to me. So do you think they'll eventually make one of these versions Nathaniel Richards?
I think it would be smart to they did. This was Kang the Conqueror, the famous Kang the Conqueror, and it's
We already
not.
met,
It's and it's not. And we met the
He Who Remains, yeah.
So it's not necessarily bad if we just bam bam knock them off, since we know there's more, and then eventually, whenever we do get there and we meet the Kangs later on in the film, we still haven't met, Nathaniel Richards.
I'm sure. I don't even know if they'll go there though. I hope they do, because they're going to do a Fantastic Four movie,
and they're doing a season 2 of Loki. So and all this is tying together. So a part of me thinks there's going to be like a redemption story for Nathaniel Richards, and
I just hope they give him something more than what we got here. Because in this movie, I was
I
very
absolutely think they will.
disappointed
I do think they will.
I hope so, because it was. And then the second thing is, we see at the end there's a billion of these guys. So does that take away the stakes of like, oh, we got to defeat this guy in this movie, or is it just going to be like, well, why am I invested in killing him? There's another one right around the corner.
Well, I think it makes it ups the stakes. It makes things like infinitely harder. That's where I think maybe we're like maybe have a multiversal wars, like where the X-Men can pop up, and maybe the X-Men will be teaming with the Avengers in one of these.
Because we got
can really happen.
Yeah, we had Professor X already. We got Wolverine returning. We got Deadpool returning. These are all confirmed, and then so it could continue beyond that. I just hope that they find a way to, because I did have a little bit of a problem with Thanos in Endgame when they kill him at the beginning of the movie, and then 2014 Thanos is the villain for the rest of the film. I'm like, oh damn, there's just they just quickly it takes the stakes a little. It affects the stakes for me a little bit. So that's my problem with the multiverse Kangs.
Well, what if you think this whole next phase and everything is leading to just a big correct or overhaul, like a big what's the word for it, like a
reboot?
Yeah, like a reboot, like they're what they did kind of in Days of Future Past, where they
fixed the timeline. Okay.
I mean, like, what if they kind of do something like that? Because by the time all these movies are over, like, some of these actors are going to be like, they're going to want to go do other things. Yeah. Like, they're going to be like 10 years into these movies. I mean, and we got to let them go, guys. We love them, but we got to let them go.
I was thinking about that. I saw the Guardians trailer ahead of this movie, and I was thinking, man, it's been 9 years since the first Guardians movie. And so no wonder, James Gunn wants to move on to other things and these actors. Because for me, it's like, oh, wow, they're just, already done. And then it's like, no, but it's 10 years of these guys' lives.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Kang, we could jump ahead to the way in which he gets defeated. Did you think it was a little bit silly? Because spoiler alert, I thought it was a little. So he gets defeated by ants,
dude. The fact that he was going toe to toe, or that Scott Lang was going toe to toe with Kang the Conqueror, really bothered me. Like, he was just fist fighting him, and they were like going back and forth.
And his powers seem to be so inconsistent across the film. When Scott's in jail, he can just throw him across the room. But when Scott is out of jail, he has to take him on fist fight. I understand his mechanism does get destroyed later in the film, so that's why they're having a fist fight at the end.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of other times where in my head I'm like, use the thing,
but I just figured he would be still badass without his But I do forget he is just a man, and he does make note of that. So. Yeah.
But he gets defeated by ants. Kang the Conqueror, and this is the thing. Thanos was in Guardians of the Galaxy. We saw him in that first movie. So you kind of did it, and we saw him before the big reveal. But he wasn't humiliated by a lesser You didn't see Star-Lord take on Thanos in a fist fight. You didn't see Star-Lord outsmart Thanos in that first Guardians of the movie. It was just a little bit of a teaser. That's what this movie should have done more with Kang. Maybe have MODOK be, we got to talk about MODOK, but maybe have MODOK be the main villain, and if it was a better version of MODOK, and then have Kang be like an end credit scene or something. Seeing the big bad for the next phase of this MCU get defeated by Ants and Ant-Man, it kind of pulls the rug out from under him.
I don't think that's the end. I don't think that's going to be the end.
Well, for this version of him, right? This variant.
I don't even know. It might not even be the end of the Conqueror. It might not be. I don't know though. The other guys said he's dead, right?
At the end they said that he's dead in the post-credits scene.
Who knows?
But they could have bad information at the time.
I mean, with the way he died, like getting sucked into that.
Yeah, the vortex or whatever.
It's
anything could happen, because that's what we thought happened to MODOK in the first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah,
and then he comes back in this movie.
So let's talk about him.
Were you huge character from the comics? Were you impressed? They've been wanting to use him for years.
So I remember him from the X-Men, the animated series, right? So I liked him. I liked the character, and I remember the cards, the trading cards. Man, honestly, I wasn't that mad at the character. It was ridiculous. It was stupid, but I wasn't mad. I was like, man, screw it. They need it. I mean, like, it's that, or you're gonna make MODOK and have him be another badass, unstoppable beast. And like, God, we're already trying to do that with Kang.
Okay,
so, like,
you need a little bit of balance. I see what they're going for now. I can see,
but I didn't think they would take it to the lengths that they did. I mean,
looking at his stupid fit, the CGI again. I'm going to complain. But
I love that they addressed it. Like they didn't like try to just gloss over the fact that you're not staring at this ghastly, horrible CGI big face. It looks stupid, but at least they call it out. They
call a spade a spade.
They're very aware of what they did.
Yeah, I was,
and his part where he's I don't know how to be, or I don't know how to not
be a dick.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
I think that was, I mean, and then having MODOK also play a part in defeating Kang. I don't know, I feel like Kang.
Yeah, that was a little forced.
Yeah, I think they kind of took away. I don't know if you've seen my coverage of Loki, but I hated Loki, and I did not like his role in that Kang, He Who Remains, in Loki. So I was like, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantu-MEH-nia really needs to build this character back up for me. So coming from that, maybe it's my fault for coming into it from a cynical point of view, but coming in with that point of view, this movie did not impress me to the point where I'm like, oh damn, I'm kind of checking out of this multiverse saga a little bit, unfortunately. Really? Yeah.
Well, which one so far in Phase 4? Or
I liked Spider-Man No Way Home. I liked WandaVision.
I did like WandaVision a lot.
Will say the last thing I want to say about Quantu-MEH-nia, because I don't think I said it enough to this point. The best part of the film for me is I do like the dynamic between Scott and his daughter. I do think that's really well done. And then seeing them embrace at the end was nice. And the only thing that pissed me off about the ending was the fact that I thought they were going to do a ballsy ending and have Scott and Evangeline Lilly's character get stuck in the quantum realm at the end of
the me too.
And then they just open it up, and then instead of being like, oh thank God, they're just like, let's go home. And I'm like, I thought you were about to get stuck.
Me too.
So I felt like it kind of pulled back,
because that would have been like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, but then they bring me back to what I like about the film is the father-daughter bond, and then he gets her the birthday cake, and she says, it's not even my birthday, Dad, and he says, yeah, but I missed a couple, and I'm like, damn, cute is cute. I do like it. It gets me.
As a father, it gets me too. So yeah.
So I said it in my monologue. It's not if there was a movie that you could wait till streaming, because a lot of people do this now. They wait till Disney Plus, and if there was ever a movie you could do that for, I think this probably is it. Unfortunately, are you telling people to race out and see this, or how are you recommending this movie?
I'm saying go watch it in the theater, because you'll want to see it in the theater better, because it's definitely one of those films that you want to see it big. You want to hear the loud speakers and stuff like that. do it and support the arts because the arts need it.
Well, I will
So,
always
yeah.
say, yeah, the movie theater experience is the best thing whenever it comes to watching movies, and I always tell people to support their local theater. So yeah, I guess I don't want
Yeah,
to
no,
sound
no, I know what you mean.
yeah,
No, yeah,
yeah.
He just means like, yeah, could you wait a few weeks to see it?
That being, yeah, I would say go if you're going to the movie theater, maybe watch a different movie other than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Chris Gazaway, thank you so much. You are,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, you are a musician, you're a wrestler, you're an actor based here in northeastern Oklahoma. What's the best way for people to keep in touch with you and keep up to date with the projects that you're doing? I know you have a new official Instagram account.
Yes, it's Nae Wrestler, and yeah, I have some cool things coming up, and I got to do a few cool things, before.
You did Tulsa King. You did a bunch of stuff, and you have something else that's coming out at the end of February, right?
Oh yeah, 1,000 Tomorrows. It's a story about some rodeo guy. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna like it, but I'm in the background of it somewhere. So
You got a lot of stuff, so it's
they
important.
paid me. So yeah.
There you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for me. I've got Twitter and Instagram at Samuel D. Carrico is where you could find me, but I would just encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Film Fan Club, youtube.com/The Film Fan Club. Monday, February 27th, I have a big video, Why I Hate My Favorite Franchise, A Star Wars Story, Part 2. My second video essay about Star Wars is coming out. It'll be in the time slot for the Film Fan Club show. So 10:30 p.m. Central Time, Monday, February 27th. I've been Sam Carrico for Chris Gazaway. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.